Oi, what's happening, everybody? It's your Uncle Weezy here, coming with a advanced stats breakdown for the co-main event of UFC Vegas 28. We got Walt Harris facing off against Marcin Tybura. I wanted to take you through the matchup template here, which is available on DFS by the Numbers Patreon, and I'm also going to make a link available in the description of this video for those of you who want to take a look at this and do your own research. You'll notice down here that I've got the stats matchups for all of the fights that are going to be taking place this Saturday. So we got 14 different matchup templates set to go for you here, but for this video we're going to concentrate on the co-main event, Harris Tybura. Let me zoom in on this here just a little bit so that we can get a better look at these numbers and they're a little more visible to you on the screen. But we will start with the tail of the tape, and we got Walt Harris, 37 years of age, against Tybura, 35 years of age. Harris 2 inches taller at 6'5" as opposed to 6'3". We got Tybura with a 1-inch reach advantage. Tybura is an orthodox fighter, and Walt Harris is a southpaw. Now, there was something I wanted to bring to your attention about this. If we go to UFC stats and we look at Marcin Tybura's career here, Greg Hardy, Ben Rothwell, Maxim Grishin, Spivak, Sakai, Abdurrahimov, Struve, Lewis, Werdum, Arlovsky, Henrique, and Pesta, all orthodox fighters. He has only fought one southpaw in his UFC career. That was Timothy Johnson in his debut, and he lost that fight. I thought that might be valuable. If we go down to the pro experience here, we also see that Tybura trains at Jackson Wink and SBG Alabama for Walt Harris. So we go to the pro experience. We see that the numbers are pretty similar here, with Tybura having 27 pro fights and Harris 23, 13-9 record with 1 no contest for Harris, and we got a 21-6 record for Tybura. If we look at cage time here, we see that there is quite an advantage for Marcin with 289 minutes of pro cage time as opposed to only 111 per Harris, but we see that Harris only has 4 less fights in his career, so obviously the average fight time much lower for Walt Harris, 4.83 minutes, while Tybura it's 10.72. Tybura 27 fights in a slightly shorter career length. Here we see 9 years 6 months for Tybura and 10 years 2 months for Harris. So over his career, Tybura has just been a little bit more active. As far as UFC experience goes, we see that Harris has got 15 fights and Tybura 13. Tybura 8-5 record, while Harris has a 6-8 record, which is a losing record. Tybura almost twice as much cage time, 166 minutes compared to about 100, and much longer fight time as well, 12.78 minutes for Tybura, 6.65 for Harris. When we go to the finish stats here, obviously easy to tell that 100% of not only the UFC wins, but the overall wins by Walt Harris are by KO. Guy's a knockout artist. He's not a ground fighter. We see for Tybura, in the UFC, he has had 60% of his wins by KO, and 29% of his losses wins overall are by submission, and 38% of his overall wins by KO. And we see how he loses fights. Tybura has never been subbed. He's been knocked out in 60% of his UFC losses. So 3 out of his 5 losses have been by KO. And Walt Harris's losses, 50% by KO, 13% by submission in the UFC. And he's overall 44% been knocked out. So Harris knocks people out, and Tybura gets knocked out when he loses 60% of the time. So we do see a path to victory there for Walt Harris by knockout. I also want to point out that if we go and look at the advanced stats for our guy Tybura here, that's Sakai. So Tybura here, quite a few wins here by knockout, but most of them by decision. But if we look at Walt Harris, we will notice that all of his wins, right? We got a win here against Oleinik, first round KO. A win here against Spivak, first round KO. A win here against Arlovsky, second round KO. A win against Asker, first round KO. A win against Sherman, second round KO. A win against Cody East, first round KO. 4 of his 6 wins, first round KOs. 2 of his 6 wins, second round KOs. If you like Harris to win the fight, you might want to bet those first or second round KO props, because that is how he wins fights. Let's go back to the matchup template here. Now that we've done the finish stats, let's go up and look at the striking statistics here. So we see that Walt Harris lands 2.95 significant strikes per minute out of 7.71 for a 38% striking accuracy, while Tybura lands 3.7 and attempts 7.35, 50.37% striking accuracy. So Tybura, the more accurate striker. Without question, Walt Harris is the more powerful striker. We see a over 3% knockdown per significant strikes landed rate. That is very high. And we see that Tybura 0.16% knockdowns per significant strikes landed. So that puts him definitely very low on the totem pole. You know, heavyweight is a division that's known for power punchers, and Tybura isn't one of them. And we can also look here. I believe I have some stats sorted by the heavyweight weight class here. And if we look at knockdowns, we see number 1 in knockdowns per total significant strikes landed is Chris Daukaus. Number 2 here is Ngannou, and Walt Harris is number 3 on the list. And I think I've got, 34. So 33 heavyweights ranked here. So in a division that's known for its power, Walt Harris has the 3rd highest knockdown per significant strikes landed rate. So, you know, you fade this man's power at your own peril. This guy has got legit power even for a heavyweight. You think Rosenstrike's got great power? Well, Harris's numbers are even better than Jairzinho's. So that's something we definitely have to keep in mind here, is that Walt Harris, without question, has fight-changing power. On the defensive side of the striking stats, we have Walt Harris absorbs 3.43 significant strikes per minute out of 7.56 for a 54% striking defense, while Tybura absorbs 3.25 out of 7.42 for a 56% striking defense. Marcin Tybura has been knocked down on 0.74% of the significant strikes landed against him for 0.36 knockdowns allowed per 15 minutes. So he has been knocked down, but not a ton. Not shinny for a heavyweight. And Walt Harris has also been knocked down about 0.3 times per 15 minutes, 0.0058 is the ratio there. So yeah, Harris has definitely got power in his hands, and Tybura has been knocked down, but he's not what I would call chinny for a heavyweight. But definitely, if we look at those striking statistics, what pops out the most is that Walt Harris has got some serious power. Grappling statistics, and look, this is a striker versus grappler matchup here. I mean, clearly Harris is a power striker, knocks people out. All of his wins are by knockout. And Marcin Tybura is a guy who his fights are very grappling heavy, as we will see here. So Walt Harris has only attempted 7 takedowns in the UFC in 15 fights, and he's only gotten 2 for a 28.57% takedown percentage. Marcin Tybura has 18 career takedowns out of 40 career attempts for a 45% takedown percentage. He gets 1.62 takedowns per 15 minutes, so not bad. That's actually pretty good for the heavyweight division. Not a lot of grapplers in the heavyweight division. Neither one of these guys attempt a lot of subs. If we look at control time here, we see Walt Harris less than 6%, Marcin Tybura 30%. So 30% of the time he's controlling his opponents either on the cage or on the ground. And I think that that's going to be Tybura's path to victory, as I will illustrate here shortly. But we look at the defensive numbers. We see that Walt Harris has been taken down 5 out of 18 attempts. That means he's defended successfully 13 out of 18 for a 72.2% takedown defense, while Tybura 82% takedown defense. Walt Harris has been taken down 0.75 times per 15 minutes. Tybura, it's 0.45. Tybura's been controlled 14% of his UFC career, and Walt Harris only been controlled 12% of his UFC career. But there's a very important statistic that I wanted to highlight for you here in terms of Walt Harris and in the fights that he's been taken down. So let's go to the defensive side. These are Walt Harris's stats right here that we're looking at, right? So let's go to the defensive side and let's look at who has taken down Marcin Tybura. So we can see that he was taken down in this fight here. I will highlight that fight. I will highlight every fight that he was taken down in here. And there's number 4 and there's number 5. So as we can see, right here, one takedown, one takedown, one takedown, one takedown, one takedown. If we scroll back, he's never been taken down more than once in a fight. However, Alistair Overeem, loss. Fabricio Verdum, loss. Abdurakhimov, loss. Soa Paleli, loss. Jared Rochal, loss. Every single fight that Walt Harris has been taken down just once, he's lost. And Marcin Tybura is he's gonna shoot for takedowns. There's no question about it. He's got a grappling advantage over Harris. Harris has got elite power even for a heavyweight. If Marcin Tybura is smart, he's going to try to take this fight down to the mat. And if he is even successful once, if he did lose, it would be the first time that Marcin Tybura has ever Walt Harris has ever won a fight where he's been taken down in. So now let's look at the strength of schedule statistics in the last 5 fights for both of these gentlemen. I start here with the ratio. The ratio is the ratio of wins to losses of their opponents outside of their fights with that fighter. So Walt Harris's opponents have a 1.37 win to loss ratio, while Tybura's opponents have had a 1.61 win to loss ratio. The total fights, 11.46 compared to 9.8. That just means that Tybura has fought the more experienced competition. Tybura's competition have had more UFC fights than Walt Harris's competition on the aggregate. On the overall, Tybura slightly better ratio, 1.61 to 1.37, and a little more experience in his opponents. When we go to wins, we see that Marcin Tybura 1.41 ratio as opposed to 1.06, and 11.75 total fights as compared to 5.5. So not only has Tybura beat the better competition, but he's also beaten more experienced competition. And if we look down here at the losses, we see that the average record is 6-4 of the person that Walt Harris has lost to, while it's 7.4 and 3.6 for Tybura. So the ratio 2.06 for Tybura's losses as compared to 1.5 for Harris. So overall, wins and losses for the strength of schedule, Tybura has faced the better competition, beaten the better competition, and lost to the better competition. And if we look at the last 5 fights here, we see that Walt Harris, 2 wins, 2 losses, 1 no contest, with losses to Volkov and Overeem, while Tybura is 4-1, and he's on a 4-fight win streak. Wins over Hardy, Rothwell, Grisham, and Spivak. Very impressive. So that's basically the matchup template here. So we see that in the tail of the tape, Tybura's only fought 1 southpaw in his UFC career. The numbers are pretty close. Not really much of an advantage there either way. The experience is also very close. Harris and Tybura both in the mid-20s in fights, and Harris's numbers just a little bit lower in terms of average fight time. He finishes fights quicker than Tybura does. For the finish stats, we see that Walt Harris has a 100% knockout rate when he does win. Tybura finishes fights by submission and knockout. Striking, grappling, we've got a striking advantage for Harris because of that crazy power. We've got a grappling advantage for Tybura, and especially in the fact that since Harris has never won a fight where he's been taken down, I think that there's a striking advantage for Harris. There's a grappling advantage for Tybura. And then on the last 5 and the strength of schedule, definitely an advantage for Tybura in the strength of schedule, and in the last 5, also an advantage for Tybura. So in terms of my conclusion for this fight, I would say that if you think Tybura has a chance to take Harris down, he's going to have a really good chance to win this fight. And he's going to have to weather that early storm, because we know that out of the 6 wins that Harris has had in the UFC, 4 of them are by first round knockout, 2 of them are by second round knockout. So the path to victory for Marcin Tybura is to weather that early storm, get takedowns, wear on Harris, take the power out of those hands, and either win a decision by lay and pray, or maybe ground and pound him or submit him. I think there's several paths to victory here for Tybura, while Harris's only path to victory, in my opinion, is a first or a second round knockout. If he were to win this fight by decision, it would be the first fight that Walt Harris has ever won by decision in 23 career fights. So I think we got a pretty clear path to victory for Harris by knockout early. We got a pretty clear path to victory for Tybura by a grappling-based decision, submission, or ground and pound. So since Tybura has just a little more experience, since he has more paths to victory, I think Tybura is probably the safer pick. However, the line is kind of wide. Let me get best fight odds up here. Let's see where the line is on this right now. We've got Marcin Tybura at -177 and Walt Harris at +140. So if you like Harris's chances to get that early knockdown, knockout, you're getting plus money on it. And if you think that Tybura's got a pretty easy path to victory with the grappling, I think we can see that that's also a possibility. My pick is going to be Marcin Tybura by decision. I think he gets it done by taking him down, smothering him, and wearing him out. But whatever way you're going on this fight, I hope you found the breakdown to be helpful. Please leave a like. Feel free to subscribe. I'll be doing these breakdowns for almost all fights where I have a decent amount of statistics to break down for you guys. Hope you found it helpful. Good luck to everybody that's gambling on this, and I hope we can all make some money together. And you guys have a great one, and I will talk to you soon.